I mean, there's a lot of different issues, right? We're a nonprofit, we're not a business, we're not trying to make money, but we need to break even. And that is challenging in an environment where tuition has to keep going up in order to cover the cost of increasing expenses. And the question is always, at what point does tuition go up so much that we price ourselves out of the market?
The UBEC was created because there was some pressure to really create more of a shared governance perspective. And so the UBEC had both staff, faculty, and student involvement, and it was intended to be advisory to Father. At that time, Father Paul.
But when you're a nonprofit organization and you're getting the tax-exempt status, the idea is you're doing it for the public good, and that you should share the information about your finances in a way that makes it possible for others to understand what's going on. Most people don't care. They don't want to get involved in looking at budget numbers or spreadsheets and trying to figure out all the mechanisms that are involved in trying to keep a $500 million a year budget going, right? So I would say I'm unique in that. I was interested in this. And I think that more people are becoming interested in it, the more problems that they see.
I was a little bit disillusioned by how our tuition money was being spent. I think that a big issue when it comes to the budget and what sort of aligned me toward wanting to be a part of that was just to get a better understanding of transparency when it came to our budget.
Lack of transparency always negatively, in my opinion, impacts trust and confidence that things are being done in the general interest as opposed to specialized interest. Okay, and then we can always speculate who benefits from that specialized interest. So there should be transparency about the decisions that are being made. And those decisions, I think, are being made by administration, but they're presenting that to the Board of Trustees. And I think once the Board of Trustees approves, whatever the strategy is, then that information should be shared. Divestment is not so complicated that folks can't explain what it's going to entail, okay? Explaining that revenue impact to me is something that should be happening on some regular basis, because there's all kinds of concerns that students may have, faculty may have, staff may have about what we as a university are invested in.
I mean, transparency is tough. But there were a lot of requests for details about the work that the budget team was doing, where we didn't get the information that we wanted to. There seems to be a certain amount of consistency with the administration trying to work with us, and the reality is that they didn't always do that. And there's good reasons for that. The team's extremely small and very busy, and like most nonprofit organizations, they're focused on board members who supply the funds that make their jobs possible. So, students, of course, are paying the bills, but faculty and staff and whatnot maybe have a less strong claim on their attention.
Nearly 90% of our total revenue comes from tuition. Around 1/3 of the expenses correlate to the financial aid that we offer students. Right, so that's the second highest investment we have. The first being compensation for faculty workers and just student workers in general. It is easy to sort of see the tuition and think to yourself, the tuition keeps on increasing, but they keep on decreasing funding for certain programs.
Even in 2018, we were already seeing a downward slide in enrollment. And that had significant budget implications. And the overall strategy that the university was proposing under the vice provost at that time was one of cuts. It's come with staff, it's come with the reductions in faculty. In some cases, it's come with reductions in programs that the university formerly offered and no longer will be offering. We were dealing with cuts as part of the proposed 2019-20 budget. So in our first year, we were presented by university administration with a series of reductions that we had to look at, and we were basically asked to approve those. And I think one of the things that's been pretty concerning about the university strategy has been continued focus on cuts as opposed to revenue strategy enhancement.